Hello, this is Will from Lost to Victory. I hope this video finds all well with you in your world, and it's a beautiful day in the fall of 2025, and I just thought I would give another video about loss and see how that loss can turn into a victory. I'm going to probably speak of one of my most challenging losses in my life, and that would be when I was a young kid. I was bullied, and I grew up in this family, a large family, number 8 of 9 children, and I was almost like an only child in that family because my next older sibling is 7 years older, my younger sibling's 9 years younger, the eldest is 16 years older. So it's kind of a unique setup that way, forcing me to grow up differently than having siblings close in age that I would grow up together with. So as a young kid, because I had older siblings, I saw my parents being challenged with teenage kids and teenage problems, and I sensed that they had more than they could handle. So when I was a young kid, maybe around 7, maybe younger, I can't remember exactly the age, but I was bullied, and I didn't want to bring that home. I kind of kept it to myself, and I didn't have the tools to stand up for myself, and I didn't have an older sibling really there to kind of guide me. So unfortunately, it kind of continued, and it got worse, and you know, it's kind of it's very difficult to be bullied. I have perspective on it now, but back then, as a kid, it definitely was damaging. As a young kid, I did feel greatly loved within my family, and I was at large pretty happy. Yet the moments of being bullied were at times exhilarating because there was the thrill of fighting it on, but at large it was very painful. You know, it definitely hurt my self-esteem. It made me less strong in an ability to grow myself. So definitely it damaged me, and I wish at a young age I had the tools to throw a punch or to tell them to fuck off, because if I did that, it would have changed a lot. However, I didn't do that, and I didn't know how to do that. However, if you're being bullied, throw a punch, defend yourself, because that's the best way to get rid of bullies. And to the bullies, if you bullied people, or if you are bullying people, you know, you need to take a look at yourself. I forgive the bullies, but you know, you were probably bullied by somebody else, or you've got your own struggles, and you take it out on others. I'm not a fan of bullies, and I think we need to get smarter, and the people bullied need to throw a punch and tell them to fuck off, and the bullies need to pull back and realize that their behavior isn't acceptable. So it took me a long time to really come to terms with this issue, and has kind of riddled me for a lot of years until I faced it, and it's a hard issue to talk about. It's a hard issue to accept. But I'm fine with it now. I forgive the bullies, and I move on, and I feel stronger in myself than I ever have. And I'm sure I could spend years with a therapist sorting out how and why that happened to me. But all I can say is I know that ultimately it has grown me into the best version of myself, because I've overcome it and I've learned from it. And I feel for people who are dealing with it. But I do know that it did damage me in my, you know, and I had many years of great success as a business person, but I think, you know, I could have even been more successful had my self-esteem not been damaged at a young age, and I would have perhaps made different choices. But cannot look back, can only look forward. So for right now, I'm grateful to be me, and I'm here to help anyone who's going through bullying, because you shouldn't have to go it alone. I wish I hadn't, and but it's unfortunately it's part of the human condition. You know, part of human nature, being flawed humans. There are those who are going to hurt others, and there are those who will take the wrath. And I don't think it's acceptable, and I think humanity needs to get better, and you know, it needs to be stopped. Because we see it played out in the world at large when we look at wars, and we look at, you know, one group of people trying to dominate another group of people within society. I think there is a better way, and I think the bully leaders of today need to step down and find different ways of behaving. There are always compromises, and I think in this age we need to be willing to discuss, negotiate, and determine better paths for better outcomes that better serve humanity and not just the interests of a few. So that being said, bullying sucks. It sucks to be bullied. My victory, it took a lot of years to get here, but I feel I have better boundaries than ever. I don't tolerate people's nonsense, and it took a long time to get here though. You know, unfortunately I went from bullying to being a people pleaser, and you know, I didn't really fight for my own needs as well as I could have, and that sort of was a theme throughout my life, but I realize it now, and you know, I'm fully in control of me now, which is the gift, but it took a long time to get here. And you know, as I said, it was a loss to be bullied, but there is the victory. The victory is, right now, I feel the best I've ever felt in my life, and it's only going to get better. All right, you have a good day. You take care of yourself, and peace be with you.